Chapter 40. Leo. Leo unfurled the little strip of paper. It read, "That's your request? Seriously? Over." On the back, the paper said, "Your lucky numbers are 12, Jupiter, Orion, Delta, 3, Theta, Omega. Wreak vengeance upon Gaia, Leo Valdez." With trembling fingers, Leo turned the rings. Outside the gates, Wolfhead growled in frustration. "If friends do not matter to you, perhaps you need more incentive. Perhaps I should destroy these scrolls instead. Priceless works by Archimedes." The last ring clicked into place. The sphere hummed with power. Leo ran his hands along the surface, sensing tiny buttons and levers awaiting his commands. Magical and electrical pulses coursed via the celestial bronze cables and surged through the entire room. Leo had never played a musical instrument, but he imagined it must be like this, knowing each key or note so well that you didn't really need to think about what your hands were doing. You just concentrated on the kind of sound you wanted to create. He started small. He focused on one reasonably intact gold sphere down in the main room. The gold sphere shuddered. It grew a tripod of legs and clattered over to the taser ball. A tiny circular saw popped out of the gold sphere's head, and it began cutting into taser ball's brain. Leo tried to activate another orb. This one burst in a small mushroom cloud of bronze dust and smoke. "Oops," he said. "Sorry, Archimedes." "What are you doing?" Wolfhead demanded. "Stop your foolishness and surrender." "Oh, yeah, I surrender," Leo said. "I'm totally surrendering." He tried to take control of the third orb. That one broke too. Leo felt bad about ruining all these ancient inventions, but this was life or death. Frank had accused him of caring more for machines than people, but if it came down to saving old spheres or his friends, then there was really no choice. The fourth try went better. A ruby-encrusted orb popped its top and helicopter blades unfolded. Leo was glad Buford the table wasn't here. He would have fallen in love. The ruby orb spun into the air and sailed straight for the cubbyholes. Thin golden arms extended from its middle and snapped at the precious scroll cases. "Enough!" Wolfhead yelled. "I will destroy them!" He turned in time to see the ruby sphere take off with its scrolls. It zipped across the room and hovered in the far corner. "What?" Wolfhead cried. "Kill the prisoners!" He must have been talking to the taser ball. Unfortunately, taser ball was in no shape to comply. Leo's gold sphere was sitting on top of its sawed-open head, picking through its gears and wires like it was scooping out a pumpkin. Thank the gods, Hazel and Frank began to stir. "Bah!" Wolfhead gestured to Lionhead at the opposite gate. "Come! We'll destroy the demigods ourselves!" "I don't think so, guys." Leo turned toward Lionhead. His hands worked the control sphere, and he felt a shock travel through the floor. Lionhead shuddered and lowered his sword. Leo grinned. "You're in Leo world now, baby." Lionhead turned and stormed down the stairs. Instead of advancing on Leo and Hazel, he marched the opposite stairs and faced his comrade. "What are you doing?" Wolfhead demanded. "We have to—" Blom! Lionhead slammed his shield into Wolfhead's chest. He smashed the pommel of his sword into his comrade's helmet, so Wolfhead became flat, deformed, not very happy Wolfhead. "Stop that!" Wolfhead demanded. "I cannot!" Lionhead wailed. Leo was getting the hang of it now. He commanded both suits of armor to drop their swords and shields and slap each other repeatedly. "Valdez!" called Wolfhead in a warbling voice. "You will die for this!" "Yeah?" Leo called out. "Who's possessing who now, Casper?" The machine men tumbled down the stairs, and Leo forced them to jitterbug like 1920s flappers. Their joints began smoking. The other spheres around the room began to pop. Too much energy was surging through the ancient system. The control sphere in Leo's hand grew uncomfortably warm. "Frank! Hazel!" Leo shouted. "Take cover!" His friends were still dazed, staring in amazement at the jitterbugging metal guys, but they got his warning. Frank pulled Hazel under the nearest table and shielded her with his body. One last twist of the sphere and Leo sent a massive jolt through the system. The armored warriors blew apart. Rods, pistons, and bronze shards flew everywhere. On all the tables, spheres popped like hot soda cans. Leo's gold sphere froze. His flying ruby orb dropped to the floor with the scroll cases. The room was suddenly quiet except for a few random sparks and sizzles. The air smelled like burning car engines. Leo raced down the stairs and found Frank and Hazel safe under the table. He'd never been so happy to see those two hugging. "You're alive!" he said. Hazel's left eye twitched, maybe from the taser shock. Otherwise, she looked okay. What exactly happened?" "Archimedes came through," Leo said. "Just enough power left in those old machines for one final show. Once I had the access code, it was easy." He patted the control sphere, which was steaming in a bad way. Leo didn't know if it could be fixed, but at that moment he was too relieved to care. "The Eidolons," Frank said. "Are they gone?" Leo grinned. "My last command overloaded their kill switches. It basically locked down all their circuits and melted their cores." "In English?" Frank said. "I trapped the Eidolons inside the wiring," Leo said. "Then I melted them. They won't be bothering anyone again." Leo helped his friends to their feet. "You saved us," Frank said. "Well, don't sound so surprised." Leo glanced around the destroyed workshop. "Too bad all this stuff got wrecked, but at least I salvaged the scrolls. If I can get them back to Camp Half-Blood, maybe I can learn how to recreate Archimedes' inventions. Hazel rubbed the side of her head. But I don't understand. Where's Nico? That tunnel was supposed to lead us to Nico. Leo had almost forgotten why they'd come down here in the first place. Nico obviously wasn't here. The place was a dead end, so why... Oh. He felt like there was a buzzsaw sphere on his own head, pulling out his own wires and gears. Hazel, how exactly were you tracking Nico? I mean, could you just sense him nearby because he was your brother? She frowned, still looking a bit wobbly from her electric shock treatment. Not totally. Sometimes I can tell when he's close, but like I said, Rome is so confusing, so much interference because of all the tunnels and caves. You tracked him with your metal-finding senses, Leo guessed. His sword? She blinked. How'd you know? You better come here. He led Hazel and Frank up to the control room and pointed to the black sword. Oh no. Hazel would have collapsed if Frank hadn't caught her. But that's impossible. Nico's sword was with him in the bronze jar. Percy saw it in his dream. Well, either the dream was wrong, Leo said, or the giants moved the sword here as a decoy. So this was a trap, Frank said. We were lured here. But why? Hazel cried. Where's my brother? A hissing sound filled the control booth. At first, Leo thought the eidolons were back. Then he realized the bronze mirror on the table was steaming. Ah, my poor demigods. The sleeping face of Gaia appeared in the mirror. As usual, she spoke without moving her mouth, which could only have been creepier if she was a ventriloquist puppet. Leo hated those things. You had your choice, Gaia said. Her voice echoed through the room. It seemed to be coming not just from the mirror, but from the stone walls as well. Leo realized she was all around them. Of course, they were in the earth. They'd gone to all the trouble of building the Argo 2 so they could travel by sea and air, and they'd ended up in the earth anyway. I offered salvation to all of you, Gaia said. You could have turned back. Now it's too late. You've come to the ancient lands where I'm strongest, where I will wake. Leo pulled a hammer from his tool belt. He whacked the mirror. Being metal, it just quivered like a tea tray, but it felt good to smash Guy in the nose. In case you haven't noticed, Dirtface, he said, your little ambush failed. Your 3 eidolons got melted in bronze, and we're fine. Gaia laughed softly. Oh, my sweet Leo. You 3 have been separated from your friends. That was the whole point. The workshop door slammed shut. You're trapped in my embrace, Gaia said. Meanwhile, Annabeth Chase faces her death alone, terrified, and crippled at the hands of her mother's greatest enemy. The image in the mirror changed. Leo saw Annabeth sprawled on the floor of a dark cavern, holding up her bronze knife as if warding off a monster. Her face was gaunt. Her leg was wrapped up in some sort of splint. Leo couldn't see what she was looking at, but it was obviously something horrible. He wanted to believe this image was a lie, but he had a bland feeling it was real. It was happening right now. The others, Gaia said. Jason Grace, Piper McLean, and our dear friend Percy Jackson. They will perish within minutes. The scene changed again. Percy was holding Riptide, leading Jason and Piper down a spiral staircase into the darkness. Their powers will betray them, Gaia said. They will die in their own element. I almost hoped they would survive. They would have made a better sacrifice, but alas, Hazel and Frank, you'll have to do. My minions will collect you shortly, and bring you to the ancient place. Your blood will awaken me at last. Until then, I will allow you to watch your friends perish. Please, enjoy this last glimpse of your failed quest. Leo couldn't stand it. His hand glowed white hot. Hazel and Frank scrambled back to watch as he pressed his palm against the mirror and melted it into a puddle of bronze goo. The voice of Gaia went silent. Leo could only hear the roar of blood in his ears. He took a shaky breath. Sorry, he told his friends. She was getting annoying. What do we do? Frank asked. We have to get out and help the others. Leo scanned the workshop, now littered with smoking pieces of broken spheres. His friends still needed him. This was still his show. As long as he had his tool belt, Leo Valdez wasn't going to sit around helplessly watching the Demigod Death Channel. I've got an idea, he said. But it's going to take all 3 of us. He started telling them the plan.